Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball Podcast, episode 63. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here with Jaren Will each and every week, and we are going to be bringing you the news and notes on all 11 Division I schools in the state of Indiana, because in 49 states,
it's just basketball.
If you're watching live, I would just like to apologize. Our unpaid intern, getting us live 2 minutes late. I mean, just disrespectful to the people, so I'd say we'd take that out of their paycheck, but
they don't have a paycheck.
They don't have a paycheck, so we'll just take it out of their ego, I guess. We'll just let them know. Let them know that we're disappointed in them.
Maybe we were late. Maybe that's like they're taking a stand against not being paid. You want to be on time? Pay me, is what I imagine our intern is thinking or saying.
He's over there nodding, I guess. I don't know. I try not to look at him when we record.
He's actually tucked into like the closet of this room, so it's hard to see him anyway.
Yeah, he's just got a monitor and, clicks on some things. But we're back. We had a good time this week, I think. Going to a game. A lot of the games had outcomes that I didn't like and were pretty wild, but it was a pretty good Saturday.
Yeah. When
it comes to the country, not so much the Indiana teams that played on Saturday. Some had good wins, but some didn't. I guess it's the easiest way to say it. But Saturday was a really good day of hoops, and it's one of those days that you just look forward to. Like UConn's antics Dan Hurley's antics were on full display. You had like all-time performances. You had rivalries on Saturday. That's the kind of basketball that I really look forward to. So, ton of fun basketball on Saturday, but
first Saturday without many marquee football games.
Right, without a regular
Army Navy was probably the only marquee football game.
But was that late?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's not a game that everyone watches. Like, it's not a Bama Georgia. It's not a one of those games, but still big draw.
Right, and it's not, it was the first week, I guess, without like a full slate or games with a lot of impact, right?
Yeah.
Because it was conference championship week the week before. So
they decided to pack it full of college basketball rivalries.
Yeah, which is nice because normally, like, I feel like Saturdays just like suck for the first couple of weeks of the college basketball season, and I always like kind of forget that they like usually then go hard afterwards.
Yeah.
Like once college football is done, like middle of January, Saturday games all day. Like they actually do it too. Because it's better than Sundays. Like they're better than going early on Sundays. So that's nice to see. But conference is in full swing. Conference play is in full swing for some teams, and that's lit. I mean, that's always fun.
Yeah.
Anything else you got before we get into it?
No, let's just get ready and let's talk about our power rankings after Adam tells us about our sponsor.
Our sponsor, Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters. So I was drinking some of this morning, just thinking about like how good it is, and that was at 6 a.m. when I was cracking open the laptop and looking over the notes that the unpaid intern gave me. So like to get after it early, and I'm a dark roast kind of guy, so this is the one I have, the ships in the night. But if you want to get some, there's still time. I just ordered some the other day, so if you want to get some for Christmas or even after Christmas, it makes a good stocking stuffer. That's what I'm going to do with mine. So order some, go to their website, Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters, or cncoffeeroasters.com, and then
there's a link in our description.
Yeah, and then at checkout, use our code TSOB to get 15% off, and really nice. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you get on it.
Yeah, the Ships in the Night is as Adam mentioned, a medium to dark roast. Got hints of chocolate and hazelnut. I like it. I'm not a big hazelnut guy generally, and Adam is definitely allergic.
Did we give an update on that? I guess the update was that I was just here.
You have not died. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not die.
So I asked Adam before he tried it if how the hazelnut would impact. And like I mentioned, deathly allergic, and he's not dead and drinks it every day. So
It's not. We did get confirmation from Crow's Nest that it is not roasted with hazelnuts. But I'm learning just so much that there are things, as a guy who's been allergic to nuts my whole life, where they could kill me. You would think I would know these things that this is safe or not, because it was. I'm a maraschino cherry guy. I love maraschino. You know this about me, but people might not. I love a maraschino cherry. Like if I'm having an old fashioned, throw a couple. Like Manhattan, a couple.
Yeah.
I like a maraschino cherry. But I didn't know that like they're supposed to. They're like made with imitation almond, and like supposed to taste kind of like almonds. And I heard that, and I was like, "What? Have I been like putting myself at risk? Like have
every time I've doubled up on the maraschino cherry.
Like am I just rolling the dice every time I have a maraschino cherry on my ice cream? Like this could be the one. It's not the nuts on top of the sundae. It was the cherry officer.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We sidebar.
It's safe. If you're allergic to hazelnut, you are safe.
That's what I was getting at. Because I know a lot of people that have allergies like that are very careful.
I'm living proof.
Yeah, quite literally. But also, we joke about our unpaid intern. If you don't like those jokes, you can always, by buying a bag or two of coffee, that goes back towards us, and we can start paying our intern who works very hard.
We
also might make us late anymore.
We do have a 48-48-2 split. Or I guess 49-49-2 split on that, but anything helps, right?
Exactly.
But what are our rankings, Jaren? Let's start from the bottom and then get here.
All right. So at number 11, we have Ball State University.
It's a repeat.
It's a repeat. Yep. Evansville is 10. They moved down one spot. Or I should say at number 9 is IU Indy, who moved up. Just wanted to call that out. We do not think that, we just think that IU Indy is playing well and had some pretty good games, so they moved up.
They had a good game this week.
Yeah. At 8, staying the same, is Valpo. 7, Indiana State, which is also the same. 6 is Southern Indiana, holding strong. 5 is Purdue Fort Wayne. 4 is Notre Dame, both of which stayed there. And then number 3, we have Butler. Number 2 is Indiana.
And I feel like those two are, it's like a 2A, 2B type of situation. Yeah. Butler has better wins. Butler also has way worse losses.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of what you value. And at this point, like if we were building an NCAA tournament resume, probably neither team would be in, but
yeah, I was wondering.
But it's kind of, pick your flavor there. Do you want them to have good wins or have no bad losses, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. Then number 1, if you're keeping track, is Purdue.
It's kind of hindsight here that we had Indiana, based on how things are playing out, that we had Indiana at 1 start the season, because it's absolutely reasonable that Purdue just runs the table again, because I legitimately thought that like Indiana had a chance, and I thought that Butler and Notre Dame had a chance to like be in the conversation.
Yeah.
I thought those 3 teams had the chance to be in the conversation for the number 1 at some point in the season, depending on how things go. But
yeah,
Purdue's just running away with it once again, two years in a row. But let's talk about these games. Let's get into it, Jaren. Let's not dilly-dally. I know the people are here to hear about all 11 teams and not just our power rankings. But if you do have a problem with our power rankings, just take them up with Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters. But if you're gonna have some beef with them, just at least follow Bracket Busters while you do it, so you can chirp at Bracket Busters at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So Ball State, they are currently ranked 281 in Torvik. That is the same as they were last week. So no movement there. They did go 1-0 this week with a win at Bellarmine, 86-82. That brings their overall record to 4-6. They have not played any conference games yet.
Right. So why didn't they move up in the power rankings is probably the big question. And I think the answer to that is what? They have 2 Division 1 wins.
They did. Yes.
Or do they have 3?
Sorry, I was thinking you said Torvik.
Why do they not move up in our rankings?
Yeah, they have 2 Division 1 wins. Bellarmine we wouldn't consider that a quality win, right? Bellarmine's not very good.
Yeah.
So winning over them was kind of negligible.
And then who's their other win?
Eastern Kentucky, they are ranked to 162 in Torvik, and I think that's considered a quad 3 win.
I think so, but it's still just like that's it. And just the way a lot of it is just the way the team looks.
Mm-hmm.
They looked better in this game. And I
also lost a lot of games that
they
probably should have won.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably something that's weighing them down.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we'll get a better idea of what they've got in the tank when they play Evansville this upcoming week.
Yep.
But I mean, some things seem like they're starting to come together. Like Mickey Pearson was good in this game. Gorcito was good. He had 21 points. 7 from he hit 7 threes. All of his shots, all of his points came from behind the arc. So that was nice. I was not able to listen to this game. I had it like on my phone catching bits and pieces. So I don't know if you know better than I do, but Hendricks started and Peyton was on the bench.
Yeah, Jeremiah Hernandez also started.
Do you know why? I didn't have time to go back and look at that.
I didn't see anything.
I don't know if it was an injury, if it was like how they played in practice type of deal. If just because 2 starters were different, so I don't know if Lewis wanted to change some things.
They both played well against SIUE.
Yeah.
So part of me thinks that maybe they, being Jerry and Ben, both played pretty well against SIUE. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. Maybe it's also just
I don't know.
Early in the season, Lewis is trying to find the ideal combination.
Yeah.
Mickey didn't start either. So that's
right.
Which is something that's odd, and I wouldn't expect that Peyton and Mickey would both be out unless maybe they're injured or something.
Yeah, it's just something that I'm going to look at next game and see what's going on with the starting lineup, and because sometimes they mention something about it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything on Twitter or whatever. I just wanted to kind of bring that up in case you had. But Juanse Gorcito was on a heater. He had 21, but Billy Smith for Bellarmine was on an absolute heater. He had 33 points, 11 of 15 shooting, and 6 of 8 from 3. That's insane. So it was a shootout between those two, but they did hold they held Bellarmine to go on 2 for 11 from the 3-point in the second half. So it's kind of what won them the game for sure.
Jerry, like I said, got the start, played 31 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is probably his most minutes of the season.
Yeah.
He did have 10 points, just 3 for 7 from the field, and 4 or 5 from free throw line.
Man, he's just not getting there enough.
But this also, I was looking at it, and this is actually Ball State's most or highest offensive efficiency of the season.
This game
was the game that they played best by a pretty large margin, but it was also their second worst defensive efficiency night.
Well, when you got a guy going 11 for 15, that's gonna kill you.
But positive things there, at least from the offensive side, because like I said, they were not doing great offensively most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't. So maybe there's a little bit of a spark there for them to do some good things.
Let's talk about Butler now. So Butler went down, obviously, if you know what they did. They went 0-2 this week, so they went down in Torvik from 68. They're down to 82nd now. They lost to North Dakota State at home. That was 71-68 loss. And then they lost to Wisconsin in the Indy Classic. They were the second game after the Purdue and Texas A&M game. They lost to Wisconsin 83-76. 74. And you're like North Dakota State. I mean, North Dakota State is a fringe top 100 team in Torvik.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, they're almost top 100. Wisconsin is seemingly pretty good this season. Weren't they ranked when they played? I don't look at the AP poll that much. I think they're like 20. They were like in the 20s or something.
I think so.
I just don't look that much because we deal with like the Torvik rankings, and the AP poll is another thing. Anyway, a good Wisconsin team. I mean, no doubt about that. They were played pretty well so far.
After they were ranked 20th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. What I thought.
So.
What do you make of these two games? Because they're both losses. Butler's now on a 3-game losing streak when you include their loss to Houston last week.
Yeah, I mean, defense was kind of atrocious in both games. It was actually 2 of their 3 worst defensive efficiency nights of the season. I believe their third was Houston.
Yeah.
One of these was number 1. One of them was number 3. I don't remember which, but defense was not great. I think when it comes to North Dakota State, you look at the behind the scenes stuff and you look at the box score, but exclude the points. It doesn't make sense that Butler loses this game because the way they performed. I mean, they had 15 assists. They had their, I think, a season low in turnovers with only 4.
Okay.
So you look at those things like, oh, okay, they're dishing it, getting baskets, at least 30 points scored when you look at the assist column, and no turnovers. Okay, pretty good night. But they
just let somebody go nuclear. I mean, if anyone went nuclear, it was Jakari White for North Dakota State. He had, in the first half. I mean, he went 9 for 10 in the first half and was out there like Steph Curry.
And that's why I said if you look at everything but the score on the box score,
like they were down 23 points in this game.
Yeah,
and
it was actually would have been their first 20-point comeback since 2017.
I would have liked that sentence to be said.
Was their first 20-point?
But if we're talking about like Marquette,
UConn, Marquette,
a Big East team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's also worth mentioning that Gusto went down in this game. He went down to it came out. They said he has an injury to his ligament in his knee. He's going to be out for an undisclosed timeline. He does not need surgery, so he should be back this season. That's positive. But had a chance to win it. They let NDSU go on an 8-0 run, basically to end the game, and it couldn't win it at the end. And then the Wisconsin game, I don't know, man. Just you're right, defense.
Defense. We've talked about it several times. Butler's bread and butter is their guard and wing play. They're always going to build a roster around that. We see it with 2 great guards in Brooks and Telfort, 3 with Bizjack, and then a great wing like McCaffrey. They just don't have any interior presence, which we talked about it a lot last year with rebounds and rebounding in general. And we thought that that'd be a question mark going into this season. They got outscored 40-24 in the paint. Like Crowell
and Winter killed them just the entire game. They did not have an answer for them.
I think that's going to be a concern of mine moving forward because the Big East has some really good rim protectors
until Gusto comes back. Right. I mean, he's smaller, but like we saw his value, very early on.
And there's a reason he's starting over screen now.
Yeah,
right? Because he's just adds the value more. But that's just the one thing that I noticed is that they just got killed on the interior.
The other thing that is kind of concerning to me is just Brooks' 3-point shooting right now. He's had great nights. He's had two 4 for 5 nights, a 4 for 6 night, but now he's tallied 1 for 7. That was against Austin P, a loss. He had an 0-3 when they beat Eastern Illinois. 0 for 8 against Houston, had it bounce back, NDSU 4 for 6, and then 2 for 7 against Wisconsin. 0 for 2 in their win against Northwestern. So, they haven't needed him, in that way, but
Yeah,
like
they've
he needs
got
to be
McCaffrey,
more consistent.
Yeah, I think with McCaffrey there being a big lift for them
Mm-hmm.
from three is nice, but yeah, the consistency is what gets me.
Yeah.
If he's only taking 3 shots a night, great. Make 2 of them.
Right. Yeah.
Make one of them.
Yeah,
but,
I'm fine with his volume. It's just he should be making more than that because he was so
Right,
good
yeah,
last year, and like, you know, I mean, I'll excuse an 0 for 8 against Houston. It's Houston.
Yeah.
Like, good luck making anything against Houston. You got anything else about Butler, the Bulldogs, other than the thing that we should be talking about with Butler?
I don't want to. Well, which thing? There are 2 big things.
Blue's new best friend.
Oh
man.
yeah. Theo Vaughn was in Indy. Took a picture of Blue. I thought you were talking about the hiring of Butler's football coach.
No.
Okay.
No.
They did hire.
This is not a football pod. Till we talk about the Notre Dame IU game.
Yeah. But Butler did hire a football coach. We literally talked about Ball State's football coach last week.
Yeah, but that's your alma mater. I mean,
okay.
You know,
well,
gotta do your
technically,
favor.
Butler's new head coach came from my alma mater, where he was an assistant coach and offensive coordinator and running backs coach for several years. Ball State.
I don't want. Are we going to talk about it?
Kevin
You just
Lynch.
go right into it.
Well, I thought that's what you were asking.
No. I just want to talk about Theo Vaughn, and you know,
that's the least important part.
I appreciate the people that are taking in Butler basketball. It wasn't in Hinkle. It wasn't in Hinkle this time.
Nope, it was that game.
But I appreciate the people that were there. Caitlin Clark was there.
Yep.
Tyrese was there,
sitting next to each other in a box. It's nice. What was not as nice was Evansville's week. They moved down in Torvik. They are 249, down from 246. They did go 0-1 this week with a loss versus Chattanooga, 75-67.
That makes them 3-7 on the season, which puts them at the worst record in the state right now.
That is
Ball State has 4 wins, and then no one else has 4 wins. IU Indy has 5. Southern Indiana has 5.
Valpo has 5.
Valpo is 5.
Yep. Yeah. So definitely disappointing. Kind of odd, like the way, because you think, okay, the game started off really good for Evansville, right? And then it just kind of.
If you turned on like the first 4 minutes, you're like, sweet.
Yeah.
And then right after that, it was like, oh, no, they're down 22-11 after being up 9-5. I literally like turned it on and I was like, oh, sick, dude. Evansville's up. This is going to be great. And then I like just kept watching and I was like, I've established I'm not superstitious, but that's odd timing.
Yeah.
But I turned it on. They were up 4 and then they go down and just can't get a stop or can't hit a shot to save their lives. At the beginning, they ended up being pretty fine, like from deep, 10 from 28. But they just got destroyed in the first half. They couldn't hit anything. I don't remember how, like, if it was like 12 or 15 minutes when like they finally hit, like Pizzato finally hit a shot or something. It was pretty much just like Turnbull, I think that's who it was. I didn't write it down. Yeah, it was like Turnbull. Just like cooking in the first half. Was keeping them in it, but like their first half was just so bad. Their second half was better. They actually won. They actually won a second half for once.
But they got to put 2 halves together.
Yeah,
something we've been saying all year.
Normally, it's been the second half that they've been tanking.
Yeah, I mean Chattanooga, they just had a deeper bench, is what it came down to. I think. I mean, their bench outscored the Evansville bench by 21.
Yeah, and the first half. I mean, Evansville was over helping and just leaving shooters wide open, and they made them pay, and then they couldn't correct enough in the second half to fix that.
Yep. Anything else on Evansville?
No, I mean, just, you know, I don't know. I think Pizzato's good. I think they have good pieces. I just don't see it right now as a complete team.
They just got to play 40 minutes. Yeah.
Let's talk about Indiana.
Indiana, they did go down in Torvik. They are 43, down from 39. They went 1-1 this week. They're also 1-1 in the Big Ten. So they won over Minnesota 82-67. Then they lost at Nebraska 85-68. and then that brings her overall record to 8-3, which is like the second best record in the Big Ten overall.
Right, and it's tied for first
nice.
in the state.
Yeah,
but when you look at the 8-3 of Indiana's, like Indiana's 8-3 is not the same as Purdue's 8-3.
correct.
But I don't know. Which game do you want to talk about first?
Well, my notes for Minnesota are they covered. Yay.
Minnesota's bad. I mean, Minnesota,
Yeah.
It's Minnesota or probably Washington that are like the worst teams in the Big Ten. So you needed to win, and I would have liked to have been a bigger win. The Net also would have liked it to be a bigger win.
Yep.
But they won. They took care of business at home as they should. And it's like, oh, sweet. Like the guards had terrible games. Like Rice and Galloway. No. Yeah, Rice and Galloway were not good.
Correct.
Tucker was good. Carlisle was good off the bench.
Tucker was my player of the game.
He was great. What do you have, 16?
Yeah, he had 16, but just was stringing together runs, doing it on both ends of the court.
So like Indiana looked like they had life.
Yeah.
Let it get, not get close, but like they let Nebraska or Minnesota hang around.
Yeah.
And then the Nebraska game, I mean, started out terrible. What, 13-3, right?
Yeah.
And then they surged back. They tied it up, and then
kept it close for, I'd say, 85% of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska pulled away. Like pretty early in the second half. I feel like once Miles Rice got taken out of the game, not taken out, but like
came out of the game.
No, like once he stopped being effective.
Oh, they shut him down. Yeah.
It was just over because that was their offense. He scored like 13 straight or something at one point.
Something like that, yeah.
Just like terrible.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at this game, the defense was not great. That is a fact. But if you rewatch the game and you see some of the things that Nebraska was doing, they were just throwing up prayers left and right, and they all went in. Like, those are just things you can't.
And they're also not a good 3-point shooting team this year.
Like, not even just prayers from three. Just like they'd drive, they'd be super off balance and backwards and just kind of chuck the ball up. And there were several times where Indiana's defense, like, got to stop. But Nebraska's players just threw the ball up. And it's like they put magnets in the ball and in the rim, and then just like activated them every time Nebraska put a shot up.
You kept texting me like, "How did that go in? How did that go in?"
Yeah, it just didn't make sense.
That's Pinnacle Bank, brother.
Yeah, and I think that obviously played a factor in why their defense looked maybe worse than it actually was. The officiating, I also thought, was god awful. There were fouls that weren't
You didn't
called.
like the one where Ballo got absolutely trucked to the ground.
And then later in that possession, Carlisle or
someone
Rice or
also
Tucker
got
got pushed down, and neither of them were called.
Yeah.
But in the first, 30 seconds of the game, Mbako had 2 fouls called on him.
Literally 33 seconds.
Yeah. And I think that those were just like tide turners.
Yeah, he never got back into the game. He did get in. He checked in.
Not until the second half.
Yeah, but he did not.
His rhythm was just gone.
He was just a body out there.
Yeah,
basically, because he just had nothing.
And I think if you look at those things, they just kind of compounded and exacerbated to have the outcome.
Yeah, they showed life though. I mean, they showed life as opposed to like the Atlantis games. They showed life.
Yeah.
So like that was positive.
But some of the players were getting so fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the energy that they had, I thought was definitely the bright spot of the game.
Yeah. And so I mean there's something there. They just need to figure it out. I don't know how. I mean, I felt like in the Minnesota game that Ballo, I mean it's everything is so matchup dependent in college basketball, but I felt like in the Minnesota game that Ballo and Renew were playing well together. They played up quite a bit together.
The Ballo game was really good.
They played really well. And then the Nebraska game, they played 15 possessions together and they got outscored 30-12 in those 15 possessions. So it's part of matchup thing, part of the way that Hoiberg plays in their defense.
I do think that Renew probably played more than he they would. I guess they probably played more together than they probably initially would have if Mbako could have played at all in the first half.
Yeah.
I think that's just a big component because Mbako he's athletic and he would have been a better matchup against.
He's the 4 you needed in the game.
And against some of Nebraska's play versus Goody.
Yeah.
And I love Goody.
I mean, Goody was great. Goody was great in this game.
Goody and Esijan were our friends.
Yeah.
But they were going back and forth at each other, which was I love to see.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Esijan hit a 3 and it just looked at Goody and was just like, for our podcast listeners, he just opened his mouth, stuck his tongue out, and kind of smiled. I did it for our viewers, but
you got to pay the premiums for that one.
Yeah, you don't. It's free, no matter what you do.
I mean, we'll put it behind a paywall if you can donate to us. Like, we'll take the money. But the key to success really is
don't play a game.
Don't play a game, and you will go up. Apparently, because Indiana State did not play a game, and they went up from 221 to 220.
I think in the 63 episodes we've done, every time a team didn't play,
they've gone up.
I think twice last year it happened.
Yeah, I mean they don't. I don't know. I mean, seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah. All right.
Some Indiana State folks were locked in on the SLU in Illinois State game.
Yeah.
That was today, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Indy, they went 0-2 this week, but like two very different games. They were just two very different games. They went up 1 in Torvik from 243 to 242. So they lost at PFW, the game that we were at, 78-76. They lost that game, and then they traveled on the road again at Lindenwood, and they lost 81-63. And so that puts them at 5-8.
5-8, and then 1-2 in the Horizon League.
Yeah, wild that they've played 3 Horizon League games. You know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, compare this. They are 5-8.
Mm-hmm.
Valpo is 5-4. They played 4 more games, and 3 of them are league games.
Yeah,
that's just nuts.
Yep.
But instant classic.
It was
PFW
a phenomenal
IUND game. Like it delivered. We had a technical foul. We should have probably had more technical fouls. It was awesome. I thought early on there was one ref who didn't. I don't know, man. He just didn't like Casaro talking to him.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to give Casaro a tech early. He didn't, and I like that. I like that he didn't give him a tech.
Yep, he let it play out.
There was a tech. It was on Chandler Cathrell, right?
I want to talk about that during our Purdue Fort Wayne recap. But yes,
there was a tech.
We will elaborate more on it in a couple of minutes.
But I mean, it was great. I mean, Jarvis Walker got 2 fouls, but there were just elite shots being made the whole time. How many threes were there? 57?
57 threes.
57, and they both shot above 50% from 3.
Mm-hmm. John Craig popped off.
He hit his career high in the first half.
Yeah. It was funny because I was looking back at Sean's stats. Not great from 3. Not bad, but like not anything to like worry.
Yeah.
And in the post game, Kaufman even said, "Yeah, we had him as a shooter on our scout, which is like to me the ultimate game respect game type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they knew he could shoot, he just hadn't done well,
right?
And he did well this game, so that was pretty good. 7 combined second chance points. That was probably the most wild thing.
I need to pull up the stats here. Keep talking. But what was it? There's one thing. It was every time Purdue Fort Wayne pulled away, like, you know, they'd go up like 10 or something and be like, oh, you know, this is when they're doing it, it'd be like, oh, drained a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, they hit a 3. Oh, it's an 8-point game. Now it's a 5-point game. Now it's a 2-point game. It just kept happening.
That's so
over and over.
It's so funny to think about that. That's what kept IU Indy in the game compared to last year when they just couldn't knock down a three. They needed threes to try and stay close.
How many games do you think it would be before, like how many game made threes could you take from last year's team before they made 13 threes? You probably take if you took like their lowest in each game.
Yeah.
They had a 0 in one game. They had it probably been like half the season until they attempted 27. It's such a different team. I love it.
Yeah. Then the Lindenwood game, it was just my theory is they were just tired from putting it all out on the line against PFW. Between the effort they put in that game, the travel, my theory is that they were just tired because they just had their like third worst offensive performance of the season. Did not play particularly well. I mean, Jarvis Walker, he was like 1 for 7 from 3, so that's one example right there. Is couldn't get the shots to fall.
Yeah, I mean, it just like a letdown game, really. I mean, I don't want to take a lot from it because how many games did they just have in a row, like on the road?
Yeah,
the team's tired.
Yep,
they need some rest, and I don't know. I'm not going to take a lot from that. I think that they've shown that losing by 2 at PFW on the road, that they can and will compete with anyone in this league, and they're not going to finish last. They're not going to finish probably even second to last. And, I think that if they keep shooting, they're going to do well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Notre Dame. They did go down in Torvik. They're 85 from 80. They went 1-0 this week with a win over Dartmouth, 77-65.
It's a nerd game, man.
Yeah. They are 6-5 overall and 1-0 in the ACC.
When's their next ACC game? It is
31st, New Year's Eve.
Georgia Tech.
Play Georgia Tech.
At Georgia Tech. And then it's just straight league games. I think that every league can, if you throw in 2 games in December, I think the last couple of days in January and the first couple of days in February should be like a week blocked for non-con games.
Oh,
like the MAC Sun Belt.
Yeah.
It's like what they used to do with like the Bracket Busters tournament.
Like do the ACC Big East Challenge in February, January. Yeah.
Or just like, I mean, you can't do this, I guess. You can't tell them to like schedule this way, but like literally just like block off that week and be like, you have to play 2 games. Well, and they have to be non-league.
The league is the one who puts out the schedule.
Yeah, and then that's how it then builds. That's how it then builds out. But like
every league just has to come together and agree to do that. And I think that'd be a perfect time for those like
because imagine Texas A&M Purdue first week of February.
That'd be lit.
That'd be incredible. Like that'd be so much better. I mean,
you could even do like the Big East ACC or like those challenges that they do. Do it like the MAC Sun Belt where they have one game.
Yeah.
And, the beginning of the season, then one game in the middle of the season.
Or, you don't have to do like a double thing, but like the first half of it is this time and the next half of it, the back half is in there.
Yeah.
Just to break up because like it's, you're like, oh, Southern Indiana's playing UT Martin and Tennessee Tech and then Tennessee State. And it's just so much. I would like a break from it. So I'm glad that we get the MAC Sun Belt. But they did beat Dartmouth. I don't know. Dartmouth had a game during finals week. So did Notre Dame. Tough.
Irony of
the
2 nerd schools.
Two
nerd schools.
2 nerd schools.
Yeah.
I told you I had a student who's when I taught, whose older brother went to Harvard and played football and like was there during the COVID when they like canceled the football season and they just like lost that year. And he was basically like he would come play basketball with us sometimes, and he was basically saying like, yeah, we're like looked down upon, like the sports teams. We're not the losers, but like we're definitely not
yeah.
the sports teams at other schools, you know.
I'll have to ask my cousin dates a former football player from Penn. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah, because it's
what
like
his
a you don't, but like we know you didn't get here on merit alone.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you had an assist.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, Cruz.
Good again.
Yeah, he's a 7 straight double-digit scoring games, which is a career high for him. Also, his first back-to-back 20-point scoring games, both of his careers. So, that was great. Marcus Burton is still out. I hate the stats part of Notre Dame's website.
What do you mean, the stats, like the box score thing?
So like just the stats, when you click on the stats tab on their basketball website, it just takes you to a PDF version of their like a box score,
Yeah.
but for the season. But you can't like sort it. You can't
Right,
look at it.
It's a PDF.
It's just a PDF. And every other school, I'm pretty positive, has like you could access the PDF if you want, but then there's also like the like interactable stats.
Yeah, and
where
every
you can sort, you can look at the career, you can look at player by player.
Every single other school does, like they do the recap on their website, and then they do the box score, and then they have they have also the PDF box. Notre Dame is the only one that does it completely differently.
Yeah,
and it's so weird to me.
I hate it, and I think it's just the least helpful, at least of all the schools that we cover.
You know what I think is the worst thing is when you go click on the box score. Every other school you can just scroll up and down. It's the away team and then it's the home team.
Yep.
But if you go to Notre Dame, you have to click on the other school. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, drives me nuts.
Everything about the stats on their website is just drives me crazy.
Hey, listen, I wanna be there at the Joyce Center for a game. We're gonna get to the Joyce Center.
Yeah.
The website though. Come on.
All right. Anything else on Notre Dame?
Absolutely not. I want to talk about Purdue Fort Wayne.
Okay. Purdue Fort Wayne. They moved up in Torvik. They are 141 from 150. They went 2-0 this week with a win over IU Indy 78-76, which we halfway talked about. And they won over Eastern Michigan at 99-76. That brings their overall season record to 8-4, and I believe 1-2,
2-1,
2-1 in conference play.
Yeah, because they dropped their opener.
Their opener, and then 1-2 straight.
Correct. Yeah, I mean we were at this game, so shouts to Coach Kaufman. I'm rocking the Purdue Fort Wayne hat, the new one that he was rocking on Twitter the other day.
I almost put it on, but then I realized I couldn't. I'm wearing the IU Indy hoodie, and that's
a little house divided type deal.
Yeah. So I'll wear that on the in a few episodes. If you're keeping track at home.
Great game.
Instant classic, some would say.
Yeah, this was a great game for Quentin Morton Robertson. Just incredible. First of all, he had an highlight alley-oop Chandler, who just absolutely dunked the mess out of the ball.
Chandler also went off.
Yeah, dude, he was incredible off the bench. Like everyone top to bottom was just so good.
Yeah.
And they were just locked in. And I remember when we went to PFW and one of the coaches was talking to us about like, at the time, he's like, IUPUI like always gets up for the game.
Yeah.
Like they always get up for this game. And
Yeah.
so like we have to play, doesn't matter how good they are, we have to play like our A game to win because they bring like their S++ game.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was the only thing I could have wanted more as a viewer would be overtime. But like this is a perfect game to watch.
Yeah. Talked about it earlier. Chandler Cuthbert got technical for a dunk. He went up we didn't actually explain even to the media, like the broadcasters, what the technical was for. But we all think it was because he was hanging on the rim. He went up for a dunk, slammed it. His momentum took him forward.
As it does.
And the way physics works, it also swung him backwards.
Right.
And by the time he landed, he got teed up. A lot of people I think on both sides were like flabbergasted.
Yeah.
That it was called.
I think it's because so much like there was like a tie up in the game.
Yeah, it was
like
very high. It was a very intense.
You could have
game.
called a tech there, but like, you could have called a tech on the coach for coming out of the coaching box if you wanted to be like nitpicky. If you wanted to call it by the rules, sure, you could. You probably should have called like 4 or 5 techs in the game. I don't think you should have called any.
Right.
I don't think you should have called any. But like for that to be the one you called,
yeah, and it's
ridiculous.
It's just a safety play.
Yeah,
I actually today, I believe it was either today or last night. South Carolina Upstate was playing South Carolina. Same thing happened. An Upstate player went up for a dunk. He got the dunk, but his hands slipped off the rim.
Oh no!
So his momentum, like we just talked about, his momentum took him forward, and it like flipped him.
Oh god!
And he like landed on his like neck, upper body area, and actually had to be stretchered off the court, and he was sent to the hospital.
They should have given him a technical.
But
I mean, he did avoid the technical. So I mean, like the
I think that was one. That's
Hopefully
just an example of like why I think it's such a stupid call because of exactly what happened.
Yeah.
To this kid.
Yeah,
like he was hospitalized.
When you're running full speed, you just give him.
I saw that earlier today, and I was like, oh, I need to make sure I bring that up because I was going to bring up the technical anyway.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to talk about it when we talk about IUND.
But I mean, this is a good game. I mean, Bello, like again, this is the best backcourt in the conference, the best backcourt in the Missouri Valley, in the Horizon League, and Bello was great. He had 18, but Q got out of his shooting slump and he had 18. And the post game, we went to the post game afterwards, and he was like, it was just ball just found me.
Yep.
It could be anybody's night. It does not matter. Like that's just the kind of the game we play. Like if it's your night, we're gonna feed you, and that's what it was. Then they played Eastern Michigan on the road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they won at Eastern Michigan, and we had 2 milestones. Rasheed Bello hit 1,500 points, and Jalen Jackson hit 1,000 points. So 2 good milestones for the Dons in a massive win.
Guess how many threes that the Dons alone shot that game?
Like 100?
49. We thought it was wild that there was a combined 57 in the PFW IU Indy game. They were 25 of 49 by themselves.
I tweeted it out earlier. I was like, if Purdue Fort Wayne will turn you over. If they're turning you over and they're hitting their threes, you can't beat them.
Yeah.
They're just unbeatable.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
Talk about Purdue. The other Purdue, they went down. This is just uncharted territory. I've seen 2 in the Purdue rankings, but it's been in the ones place before. They went down from 17th to 20th in Torvik, and they're 0-1 this week. They only played 1 game. It was a loss in the Indy Classic, the first game to Texas A&M, 70-66. And I mean, it's just a different Purdue team. I mean, obviously it's different because you're losing Zach Edey, but I think every single game that they lose, for the most part, won't be because they're missing Zach Edey. It's because they're missing Lance Jones.
I would agree.
Because I think he didn't in this game. Like Trey Kaufman-Renn didn't have a great game. It was pretty much just, for the most part, Fletcher and Smith, who played well. But like Trey Kaufman-Renn can usually fill that Edey spot in that production, but
or come close.
Yeah.
Be
good enough.
Yeah, he had a horrendous first half,
but just the lack of Lance Jones is showing, and I think that we were talking in the off season like, who can it be?
We talked about it with Rayfield too, and we interviewed him. He's like, "Is it going to be C.J. Cox? Is it going to be
Jakari Harris? Is it going to be Miles Colvin?" And I don't want to understate, like, this team does not really like have a backup big now that Jacobson has broke his foot.
Yeah. I mean Berg, but like
he's not great. And then your options are Berg, who I'm not high on the things that I've seen, and then Caleb First, who I really like Caleb First, but he's not as the backup big.
Yeah, he's a 4.
And so
he should be what Mason Gillis was.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Pretty much. I would agree with that for sure. But this is like, they don't have anyone else to fill that Lance Jones role like I was talking about. This is the first game this season that Braden Smith has had the same number of assists as turnovers. He had 6 of each.
Yeah. Also, go ahead, sorry.
No, that's all I had.
It's also the second time in the last 3 years, or I guess 2.5 years, that Smith and Lawyer combined for 25 points, and they lost. They are now 25-2 over their career playing together, where they've scored a combined 25 points. That's it's like adding fuel to not fuel to the fire, but like.
Right, but it's showing
of icing on the cake.
Right, but it's showing that, like, when they're good, that means the team's probably going to be fine. And this was just another type of deal, like when we saw Purdue lose 2 years ago is when we saw Purdue lose this year. And this is why I kind of said that Lance Jones is kind of the biggest missing piece. Obviously, Zach is literally the biggest missing piece, but turnovers, like, you wanted to beat. Why did Purdue lose against FDU? They got turned over a lot, they got pressed a lot, and they couldn't handle it. They couldn't break it. Same against Penn State. The defense was just picking you up full court. They couldn't handle it. And kind of the same thing here. Texas A&M, so many turnovers. They've averaged 18.3 turnovers in their 3 losses. Like, so if you just want to look at one thing, like, hey, why did Purdue lose this game? It's like, well, how many turnovers do they have? They're averaging 18. Like, that's crazy. Since the start of last season, Purdue is 36-1 when its turnover percentage is under 20%. It's 6-7 when the turnover percentage is above 20. So it's just turnovers.
Yeah.
It's just, like, that is the thing for them. And, Purdue, credit to them. They were hitting all their threes at the end of the game, dang near, and made it a lot closer than it was. But, like, the second half got ugly for a minute. And, it's different after, like, the last 2 years being 1 seeds. And then, like, this year is like, oh, this is like a 6 or 7 seed maybe. It's just kind of an adjustment, and, like, that's why we talk about, like, oh, they're 20th in Jorvik. Like, that sounds so crazy, but, like, you just have to reframe what it is in your head, basically, for the team.
Yeah, I mean, I also give credit to Texas A&M. They've held all of their opponents to below their season averages in shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they're good.
Purdue
like, they're a good team.
Was one of them. So let's talk about Southern Indiana.
I turned this game on. I had the exact opposite reaction and situation from the Evansville game. I turned Evansville on and was like, hell yeah, Evansville's cooking. We got this.
Yeah.
Then they just fell apart. I turned on this game and was like, they're losing to Shawnee State, an NAIA team. No disrespect to NAIA teams. Grace, Coach Moore, thank you for coming on the show. But
yeah,
I was looking at that and I was like, there's no way. And then I just watched it, and, like, Olawani was like, it's mine. Jalen Randall was like, it's mine. We got this. And, they took care of business, and it was fine in the end. And they ended up beating them 91-56. But when I turned it on, I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, in the first couple minutes, it was 9-2.
Yep, that's when I turned it on, and I was like, checked the score.
Yeah, and Southern Indiana went on a 22-5 run, and never looked back. I mean, had four scores in double digits. Our boy Merv played 5 minutes, 1 rebound, 1 assist.
That's what he only adds, man. He only adds. Any turnovers?
No, I don't think he had anything. The box score didn't show it.
Let's go, Merv.
I knew he played, but I wanted to go back and get the right stats, and there were no turnovers listed on the box score.
I'm so disappointed that they don't have the NIL that everyone else has, because we were looking earlier when we were together, and you can buy a shirt, like a Cooper Schwieger shirt or a Cooper Schwieger jersey, and I was looking, and it was I can buy a hoodie that's Purdue Fort Wayne, but it'll say Eric Mulder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I DM'd Merv and was like, you got merch? And he was like, nah, I don't. I'll see if any other guys were. And I was just like, all due respect, Merv. I love everyone on this team.
I only want
I want Merv on the back. I don't want Mervis. I want Merv.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if only. So Coach Sprue, man, you print it. You print it. We come down. We'll just break into Merv's closet, steal one, take it home with us. I'm probably Merv's size. I could squeeze.
Yeah. All right. So anything else on Southern Indiana?
No, let's talk about Valpo, because I'm very happy about their performance.
Yes. So they did go up in Torvik. They are 245 up from 253. They went 1-0 this week with a win over Central Michigan, 93-77. That brings their overall record to 5-4, and I believe 0-1 in the conference.
Yeah, Murray State, right?
Drake.
Yeah, they played it close to. They should have won against Drake.
They lost by 6 to Drake.
Evansville played Murray State.
That is
what it is.
Correct.
All right, man. He was good again. All right is just emerging as him and Tyler Schmidt are the guys who are you need scoring? We got you.
Yeah.
We got you. I mean, he cooked his career high. It was 13 before this game. He had 26. Looked dominant. The only freshman in the Missouri Valley just dropped 26 in a game since Cooper Schwieger did it last year in March.
I'll one up you there and say that he's also just the 13th time nationally that a freshman has scored at least 26 points in a game. Also the 10th different
this year.
He's also the 10th different freshman in the nation with a 26-point performance. So 13th time it's happened. 10 different freshmen. A couple of them did it twice. My bet is probably Liam McNeely or Cooper Flagg, or both,
or me.
No,
I am a freshman with my eligibility.
Yeah, I guess so.
I might be.
But okay, you look at the score, right? 93-77.
Yeah.
Not particularly close.
Mm-hmm.
There were 12 ties and 4 lead changes. So it was just back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then all right, and Tyler Schmidt said, no more.
Dude, Tyler Schmidt.
Not happening.
Tyler Schmidt deservedly so got the start, man. Thank goodness. You know what? Some Tyler Schmidt stuff. That might be my thing. I like Tyler Schmidt a lot, but I like this whole team, really. You got Schwieger. He came back after the Drake game.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't play a lot, matchups, but I like this team and I'm really happy. I want to see them competing to squeak into that, top part of the valley.
Yep.
I think they can. I still have not seen anything as an official statement from the school about Stafford.
Yeah. You'd think that they'd announced that he was medically redshirting at this point or something.
I mean, unless they're hoping he comes back, but you would think that, I guess, yeah. Gusto, it was he hurt his leg, he'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just radio silent.
Yeah, it is odd. One more thing I want to talk about with Valpo is their free throw shooting. 90% from the line.
Let's go.
It was their first time they've shot 90% from the foul line with a minimum of 30 attempts since 2013, where they were 29 of 32.
Good for them.
Doing the Indiana thing.
Gotta hit them.
Shooting free throws.
We
shot free throws Saturday.
We did.
And we were bad.
Hey, man. There were 4 of us. We hit 5 in a row. I think I hit like 7 or 8 in a row at one point. It was nice.
I had like 5 in a row at the start.
I started getting in a groove. I have seen you make a 3-pointer. It was nice to see you make a 3-pointer. I didn't know that was ever going to happen to you again when you were
because of my back.
When you were looking like an ass.
Yeah. I'm getting the feel back. I am short. I am slow. I am fat. God damn it! I can shoot the 3 ball. Well, used to be able to. It's been a while.
You and I both, and I don't remember who sent it to whom. We probably both saw it before it even got sent. But that tweet that was like, one point in your life, you just ran the 3-man weave for the last time, and you never even knew. And
not us. Couldn't be us.
Nope. Jaren and I ran a 3-man weave yesterday. When was the last time you did a 3-man weave?
4th grade. You're asking me or our viewers?
Dear listeners.
Our listeners, yeah. So get out to the gym.
Get 2 friends and a basketball and run a 3-man weave.
Yeah.
You
could do it anywhere.
We did a little mic and drill. We were out there. We were getting all over.
We were putting in the work as some washed up, almost 30-year-olds
with a Wilson Evolution. That was the game changer.
Yeah. We had a gym class certified Wilson Evolution. Yep. All right. Well, I think that's everything with our weekly recaps.
Mm-hmm.
That means Jimmy Chitwood is next. So, Adam, who is your week 6 Jimmy Chitwood Player of the Week?
Well, Jimmy Chitwood this week, man, it's all right. From Valparaiso University is Jimmy Chitwood, week 6. He had 26 points, doubling his previous career high of 13. He went 4 for 8 from 3, and he went 8 for 8 from the free throw line. You know how important that is, man. You gotta be good from the free throw line to win Chitwood. And that was in their 93-77 win over Central Michigan, a quality opponent for the Beacons, and just proud to see him emerge. We have seen him just grow and get better every single game, and I think that he is going to be one of the 3 most important players on this team at the end of the season. So all right is our latest Jimmy Chitwood, and I think that would make him our first freshman winner this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
So, shout out. All right. All right. Now, we'll talk about our games of next week.
Yes, sir.
So, we'll go through the in-state matchups, and we'll talk a little bit about the other 49 here shortly. Games this week, though, a big one for me is Butler. They play on Tuesday at 9 p.m. against Marquette. They're at Marquette, who I believe they beat Marquette at Marquette last year.
They did. They beat Marquette at Marquette and Creighton at Creighton.
Yes, that's right. They are 12.5-point underdogs. So
it would be the most like 20-24-25 Butler thing to do is win this game.
Yeah.
Like that all 3 of their good quality wins are aging really well, so like they'll probably just get this one.
Yep. That's a big one.
It's a big week for Butler cuz they're on a 3-game losing streak, a skid.
Call it a skid.
Skid, 3-game win streak.
Yep.
Skid, the opposite of a streak. They're on a 3-game losing skid, and it could very easily turn into 5 games. And I don't know who they have after this. Hang on. No, I do know. They go to Marquette, and then they have UConn at home, and then they have Villanova at home, and then they go to St. John's. So,
yes,
like, the safety net there is you have Villanova at home, so it should not, for the love of God, get to 6.
Well, they're only 1-point favorites.
But they, this is a big week for Butler, because if you want to make the tournament, your resume, like your wins are aging so well, they can almost offset your losses. The Austin P is the only like bad loss, because the NDSU loss is not a quad 4 loss, because they're almost a top 100 team. But you got to win. You have to win at home against UConn, even though UConn looks like they figured their stuff out after having a disastrous Maui.
Yeah.
Valpo at Ohio State, they're 22-point dogs, but I want to highlight this one because
Ohio State just looked absolutely atrocious.
No, not even that. They did look Ohio State looked like Ohio State and Auburn played.
Yeah.
And Auburn made Ohio State look like Evansville did when Evansville and Ohio State played.
Yeah.
But I want to just highlight this because Diebler, he's a beacon, man. Well, I guess he's probably a Crusader.
He'd be technically a Crusader.
He would be a Crusader, but he's grandfathered into the. He's grandfathered. He's a
Valpo alum.
Yeah, there we go. He's a Valpo alum. So Diebler, Ohio State's coach. Jake Diebler.
Yes, because John
is at Butler. He's at Ohio State, so I don't know if that's why the game got scheduled, but I'm sure it helped. And Indiana State's got a good chance at home against Murray State on Tuesday. And then I'll stay in the Missouri Valley with nope, I lost it. Oh, I guess it's Missouri Valley, but it's an in-state game. Our one in-state game this week is that on Saturday at 2 p.m.
Saturday
at Ball State. We have Evansville and Ball State, and Ball State's 2.5-point favorites. This has serious impact and to our power rankings.
Yes,
because they are 10 and 11.
Yep.
So for this game, you are effectively fighting for 10th.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So another game to look out for. Purdue, they're at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, like we just talked about.
I think, is it at Auburn or is it in somewhere else? Like, is it in Birmingham?
Might be,
because I know IU played them in Birmingham, but I don't know if Purdue scheduled them
as a neutral site, or it is a neutral site.
Okay.
Location, I'm not certain of.
I will pull it up for you in a couple of seconds.
Purdue,
it's in Birmingham again, so it's probably they just swapped. That's hilarious. Auburn just swapped IU for Purdue.
Yeah,
same venue.
So it is a neutral site home game for Auburn.
Quasi home.
Yeah, where Auburn are, Purdue are 9.5-point dogs, and then we've got IU Indy, who is playing at Florida International on Saturday.
Yeah, they need to win that one.
I don't know what time the game is.
It says Taba, so our unpaid intern didn't look up the updated time, which is fair. That's fair.
Can't blame them.
But IU Indy's 10.5-point dogs, which stinks, but they need to probably win this game because they need to get out of this skid that they're currently in.
Yes.
A lot of road games in a row, man. That's tough on the mental. Luckily, they've got some time off here to get ready for that game on Saturday.
I'm trying to quickly look up what time it is. I'm probably looking up the worst
I got you.
way.
It is at 6 p.m. Your good friend Google right there. It's at 6 p.m. on Saturday at FIU. So tune into that. But
yeah, that's not even listed on Torvik.
Other than that, I know that's Purdue Fort Wayne on Sunday goes to Michigan. Michigan's been good this season, and but I think Purdue Fort Wayne has the ability to stay with them. The 7-footers down low that they've got Golden and the other guy, they're going to be a really tough matchup.
For Mulder.
But not for the Mulder shoulders that we've got.
Every time he does something good and he just fucking...
He shrugs his shoulders.
Shrugs
dude.
his shoulders.
He just looks so strong.
Yeah.
So they're almost 20-point dogs, but I think that they can make a fight of it if their guards are on. Let's check in on the 49 of those states. If you have something on one of these, I'm just going to blast through these. If you have something on one of these, just stop me.
Okay.
I've got some things on some of them, but I'm not going to offer a ton here.
Fire through.
Monday, Hofstra, that was our game of the day. They beat Norfolk State 80-67. On Tuesday, Providence upset DePaul in overtime 70-63. That's a heartbreaker for DJ Gunn, former Hoosier. They should have won. That stinks. I really wanted DePaul to win. That's like the third year in a row DePaul hasn't won their conference opener. Arkansas beat number 14 Michigan in the Jimmy V Classic, and then Tennessee obviously beat Miami. Number 1 Tennessee still beat Miami 75-62 in Jimmy V. Illinois beat number 20 Wisconsin. That's why I knew they were 20. They beat them 86-80, and then Rhode Island, their perfect season came to an end in double overtime at Brown. They lost 84-80. So Archie Miller's Rhode Island Rams are no longer undefeated. And you tweeted out I got a couple Purdue laughs when you tweeted out about, okay, IU fans, you're so fed up with Woodson, who do you want to replace? And I was like, Rhode Island's off to a pretty good start.
Yeah.
And all the Purdue fans thought it was pretty funny, so I appreciate that. Steve Alford's Nevada team beat South Dakota State. So like kind of, it's like he was looking out for Butler because Butler got beat by North Dakota State.
Oh, yeah.
So they won 77-63, and then Iowa State made a comeback. They were down like pretty decent at Iowa, and they ended up winning 89-80, which I've seen Iowa in games when they're close and they just go nuclear from 3.
Yeah.
Like the whole team becomes Reggie. They're just all hitting.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they pulled that off. Iowa State is on my short list of national title contenders. It's like Auburn and Iowa State are probably like my top 2 right now.
Yeah.
I think that they just both have it. George Washington, Friday, your game of the week. They beat Army.
They overcame
75-60.
the revolt.
There we go. The crosstown shoot. So this is Saturday is when all the games were. So on Saturday we had 18 of the top 25 played on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
One that I was tuned into was the crosstown shootout. If you don't know, that's Cincinnati at Xavier or Xavier at Cincinnati when they play each other. It's called the crosstown shootout because they're both in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati won this one.
Probably isn't the best word to use.
That's what they call it.
No,
man.
I know. I'm just saying in retrospect.
You know what? Dude, at least it's not worse. But they won 68-65. Do you know about the Oscar watch that they have? I guess I didn't realize this, but when the game, I don't know if it's every time that like before the rivalry game, before the crosstown shootout, or if it's just when it's at Cincinnati. But when it's at Cincinnati, Xavier fans will try and put a Xavier jersey on the statue of Oscar Robertson.
Oh, okay.
And so Cincinnati fans, 24-hour watch. They put someone by the statue, 24-hour round the clock watch to make sure that he doesn't get Xavier.
Can you imagine being the person that like falls asleep or misses their shift?
Bid revoked because they're all pledges. You know they're all pledges for sure, dude. Like that is absolutely like I knew so a Moe's opened up in Angola when I was at Trine, and multiple people in my fraternity had one free burrito a week for life cards because they did that when they opened up, and they made pledges. I guess they made Sigmas go out and wait in line for them. Any of these other games you want to touch on Saturday, because there were about a quadrillion.
We talked about the Auburn-Ohio State game. Kentucky Louisville rivalry is back.
Oh my god! I thought punches were gonna be thrown.
So that's pretty lit. Connecticut won again. starting to.
Dan Hurley was hugging a ref.
Yeah,
He was hugging a ref. He worked it out with the refs, man.
They remembered what UConn basketball looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Those were kind of the big ones that I wanted to bring up.
The other one that I wanted to talk about was
UCLA beat Arizona, but UCLA's good, and Arizona apparently
Arizona is
anymore.
like, what's their record right now? They are. I got it right here. They are 4-5, which is very surprising. Like Tommy Lloyd has like
not good at basketball.
Tommy Lloyd, I think, has like the best winning percentage, or won the most games in his first 3 years out of any coach ever.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
not
gonna make it 4 years. But the one that I want to talk about was Tennessee, Illinois. First of all, it was an orange out in Champaign, which like is always silly to me when like the color that you make it is like the color that the other team's gonna be making. Very different orange, of course.
Right, yeah.
But like Illinois was all wearing orange, and it's like your team's wearing white.
Yeah.
Like that's when you make it a whiteout.
Yeah. You got to match your home team's jerseys or wear orange jerseys as the home team.
Yeah.
Like you have to match
Mm-hmm.
But
the other thing was like it was a tie game, and then Tennessee they won it at the buzzer because they just went coast to coast. Literally no one even stepped in their way.
Yeah.
He just all the way down. It was baffling. Like if someone had stepped in as a defender and made him like take one step to the side, overtime. Literally overtime. Yeah. That's it. So that was kind of crazy to me. Alabama beat Creighton. Mm-hmm. Dayton beat Marquette. Dayton's on a tear. They're gonna be good this year.
McNeese State almost beat Mississippi State.
Thank God they didn't, man. Butler needed that.
Yeah.
Butler needed that. And then today, actually, sorry, I have this on the Kentucky game. Lamont Butler was 10 for 10 from the field, 6 for 6 from 3, had 33 points. How many 3-pointers do you think Lamont Butler had made before this game?
4.
7.
Total.
This season, so he transferred from San Diego State. Mm-hmm. This season, before this game, what did I say he was? 6 for 6, 7 for 7?
6 for 6.
Before this game, he was 7 of 21. Insane, dude. I don't know. He just hates Louisville.
You wear the Kentucky blue. It's a requirement,
basically. And then today, Illinois State beat St. Louis 81-77. So that's Illinois State was very happy that they beat.
Church, not very good at winning against Illinois State.
No, he can't beat the other ISU. Let's go through next week.
Yep, next week. So Monday we've got Grand Canyon at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech is favored by 1. That's 7:30. Bryce Drew has the Grand Canyon team 6-3 right now. So shout out to Valpo alum there.
Yep. And then on Tuesday we've got Florida versus North Carolina. North Carolina is 4-point dogs. That's at 7 p.m. in the Jumpman Invitational in Charlotte. So thanks, Mike.
They should name it the Bill Belichick Invitational. Wednesday, the game of the day is Michigan versus Oklahoma. Michigan are 3.5-point favorites at 9 p.m. This is Jumpman Invitational Day 2.
Wednesday, game of the day is Michigan versus Oklahoma, and I'm going to say that again because I want to talk about that. Because Oklahoma is 3.5-point dogs. Oklahoma just won Atlantis. Put some respect on the Atlantis winners. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Thursday, our game of the day is SIUE at Little Rock. So that's an OVC opener for these teams, and Little Rock is 4.5-point favorites. And I'm gonna go pee while you read off this next game.
Okay. Small bladder.
I gotta bring my all. I can't be thinking about the pee while I'm trying to think of the game.
Okay. All right, so Friday, our game of the day is Cincinnati versus Dayton. Dayton are 2-point dogs. That's in Cincy. That's 8:30 p.m. In-state matchup. Two really good teams. We just talked about Dayton is playing a really good ball right now. Saturday, our game of the day is Mississippi State at Memphis. Memphis are 2.5-point favorites. That's a noon 30 tip-off. It's a top 40 Corvic matchup. So two pretty decent teams going at it. Sunday, the game of the day is Illinois versus Missouri. Missouri are 5.5-point dogs at 1 p.m. It's a border war. Tamar Bates, played lights out in their rivalry game for Missouri last week. Should be a fun game. Really looking forward to seeing how that pans out. And now we move on to Guess the Game. As a recap, Adam is 2-3 after losing last week, and I am 2-3 after winning or getting the guess correct last week. I will start us off by listing or providing Adam with my clue. Once he returns, he is taking his sweet time, so I'm just, we're just hanging out. We are just hanging out. Adam has returned now, so hopefully he is now locked in and ready for the clue I'm about to give him.
We're both 2-3.
I already listed that.
Which means that this is the game that either determines that we both suck,
or one of us,
or one. I guess we could both.
We could both get it right. We could
both get
it
but
wrong.
Then we're still, not above 500.
We've brought it back to even. We are even.
At best.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean our records against each other are even. So hasn't been that way since before the season started.
Since it was 0-0.
Yep. So
I'm ready. I'm locked in.
All right. This is the "we have a problem" game. We have a problem is in quotation mark.
Okay. Houston is in my mind. Houston, we have a problem. Don't know who Houston plays unless it's a trick. No. Well, okay, so now I'm thinking of like astronauts, and I think of one school, and that's Purdue. But Houston doesn't play Purdue. Oh my gosh. We have a problem. Who on earth would Houston be playing? No one notable enough if they're not the game of the day. Sheesh. Come on, Adam. You can do this. You can do this. Talk yourself. Houston, have a problem. Rockets. Oh my God. Is it Houston and Toledo?
No way! You pulled that out last second. It is Toledo at Houston. The Toledo Rockets at Houston. That is 8 p.m. on Wednesday, December 18th.
Oh my God.
No way. You just pulled that from the depths of your brain.
I was like, I can't think of anything else that's space related. And then I always, for some reason, get Akron and
it's the Zips.
Akron
Zips.
Yeah, I always get Toledo and Akron mixed up, and I was like, I'm gonna feel so terrible if I just say the wrong one. Oh my gosh. Woo.
You pulled Rockets. The moment you said Rockets, I was like, I'm cooked. I'm cooked.
I can't believe that. That surprised even me, man. And I'm the one who threw it out there. That was a good one.
I decided I'm going to go a little bit. I'm not going to be as abstract anymore.
That was less abstract, but okay, I would say that was like more abstract, but less abstract at the same time, because like you only gave, technically there was only like a clue that led me to one. but then that made me have to think about
That's fair.
what the other one, like what else could be
Could tie
related
into
to
that,
this.
yeah.
It was like, what else is related to astronauts in space? Because like Purdue came in mind instantly. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I mean, which is funny because they're not even the astronauts. Okay.
I shouldn't have said in quotations.
Well, the Houston, we have a problem.
Without saying quotations, I could have meant literally anything. So
Yeah.
like, okay, I gotta
Yeah.
add that in there. I had it written
Right.
as in quotations.
Right. But then Houston, we have saying Houston would be.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good one. That was like the perfect level of difficulty. I was floundering. I didn't think I was going to get there.
I thought you were gonna tank. I saw the end in sight, and then you pulled out rockets out of nowhere, and I knew I was done. But
okay, this
All
one is this one is a little bit like, if I've learned anything from your couple ones that you've given me, this should be right up your alley.
okay.
All right, my guess the game of the week is a rocky river in the far northeast.
A rocky river. Well, I think far northeast. I think Buffalo, and I think Niagara Falls because of Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
But is it Niagara against Buffalo? I don't think so. I'm gonna go Niagara, Buffalo.
Niagara, Buffalo. You're close in your thoughts. Both of your thoughts are correct. You just didn't go far enough northeast.
Okay.
So the northeast part, Maine. A Stony River also could be called
Stony Brook.
Rocky River could be Stony Brook. Stony Brook is playing Maine. Maine at Stony Brook Sunday, December 22nd at 1 p.m.
Northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because when I was formulating the clue, I originally just had northeast, and I was like, he's gonna think like New York because Stony Brook is in New York.
Yeah. And the thing that makes me so mad about this, I look at Stony Brook every week,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, a rocky river, easy,
Uh-huh.
easy. And how do I tie it with whoever they're playing? And I never pull the trigger on it. I never go with it because I can't get an adequate enough counter or second part to the hint. But I think Rocky River every single time.
You want to know what's funny about that is I was looking something else up live on the show, like another team and like what they had done, and it might even have been like North Dakota State or someone. It was one of the teams that I like pulled up, and one of them had played Stony Brook, and like it was like close enough to like mention. I was like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna put it in his head. I don't want to put it in his head.
That's pretty good. That's unfortunate.
So
Adam goes to 3-3, and I am 2-4.
I think we're getting there. We're honing our skills here to
we're
put it
finding
together.
where each other. I guess a big thing. We're finding the line for each other's mindsets.
We needed to hear what the other one thinks again to then try and get you to guess what you think.
Yeah.
And not what you think or what you yourself think.
Yeah.
Man. Did we already say that we're going to be down for I guess it's not technically a doubleheader, but we're going to be down in Evansville in about a month now.
We
like almost exactly a month and a week.
That. I was
I just don't remember if we had said it since we established that we were going to go like on any of our episodes.
No, we have not. But yes, we will be down in Evansville. For Evansville plays a noon game, I think, or maybe
it's like a noon.
It's like a noon and 2:30
so or something.
We're gonna catch as much of the Evansville game as possible before driving down the road to Southern Indiana to watch them play a game as well. Works out perfectly that both teams are playing home. This the tip times matchup.
Yeah, that's the best part.
So
And it's not like 5 hours in between. Honestly, it'd probably be better if there were 5 hours in between. But
yeah,
the question is, are we gonna go to the gonna go for dinner at the Evansville bar or the Southern Indiana bar?
I think it's a game time decision. We got to figure out.
Whichever student section convinces us.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll talk about that when it's time.
Yeah.
Speaking of time,
clock is showing quadruple zeros, so it's time for us to get out of here. Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball podcast. We will see you next week. And remember, in 49 states,
it's just basketball.